Namaste, my friends, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you why you're seeing the numbers, you name it, 111, 333, 555, 777, 1111, 1212, 1221, 1234, 123, those kind of numbers. I think if you're watching even to this point of the video, you have an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the repeating numbers that seem to be tracking you down and trying to tell you something. And this can happen to the point where you go online and you look up, like, why am I seeing these numbers? It's not at a frequency that's somewhat alarming or startling. It's at a frequency that makes you think you're losing your freaking mind. I remember this happened to me a long time ago, about a decade ago. I started seeing 1111 on the clock. And it was like, I just started to kind of notice, like, there's 1111 again. It was like, I would like pause for a moment. It would feel like the numbers are kind of winking at me. And then it started to happen beyond just the clocks. I started seeing 1111 on license plates. I'd go to a new dentist or something, and the address would be 1111. I end up walking in at 1111. I'd be catching my watch, and it's like, oh my goodness, I just kept seeing that number. And finally, I looked it up online, and I discovered I was not alone. In fact, there are actually books with the title 1111 on it. There are whole books written about this phenomenon that I'm talking about. Now, if this is happening to you, there are many very, very profound and important reasons. And that's what this video is about. If you, my friend, are seeing the repetitive numbers to the point where you're looking it up online saying, what the heck is going on? And this video is absolutely perfect for you. It's going to share with you everything you need to know about these numbers, what they are trying to tell you, and what they mean for you and your life and even the planet, the whole. Why are there people collectively going through this change where these numbers are coming into their lives? It's a very profound time, my friend, and this video is all about that. Number one, the first thing is you're probably maybe already discovered, they're trying to get your attention. They're trying to wake you up to the fact, the realization that you are waking up. People, one time early when this was happening to me, I went and saw a psychic, and this was like when I just found the book. I was just finally kind of coming into the awareness of like that other people saw these numbers, and he asked me actually during this tarot reading. His name is Kevin, and he said, "Do you see the numbers?" And I was like, yeah, I knew what he was talking about. I see the numbers, bro. What does it mean? He said, those numbers represent enlightenment. They represent spiritual awakening. So if you're seeing these numbers, that means you're in the process right now of going through a full-fledged, bona fide, authentic, I can't think of another funny, cool word. So a straight up spiritual awakening where you're really going to be shedding the layers of egoic illusion that plagues the consciousness of most human beings on the planet. You're going to be piercing through these layers of Maya or illusion and coming into the true perception of who and what you are, which is a spiritual being connected and part of everything. And these numbers are just the beginning. Number two, they're also here to help expand your beliefs about reality and what is possible. Okay, I know a lot of us have faith and have hopes and have like ideas about, God and heaven and certain religious sort of, philosophies and so forth. But these numbers are going to help train or expand your horizon, expand your consciousness, expand your belief systems to where it's no longer a matter of faith. It's more of becoming a matter of actual experience. You're experiencing something, these synchronicities that don't really make sense. They don't line up with the conventional logic you learned in school, but here you are having this experience. So that begs the question, what else? What else is possible? What else have I not been made aware of about who I am, what this is, what we're doing here, spinning around on this rock, jetting through space at thousands of miles an hour? What else have I not been aware of? Now suddenly I'm becoming to question everything. I'm beginning to wonder. And when you start going through life rekindling that childlike wonder and awe, that these numbers are helping you embody that frequency of just that wonder, you will start to find other information more relevant than even the numbers about a lot of things I'm not going to get into in this video, but just really the rabbit hole's very deep. A lot of you are probably already deep in it, as you can probably confirm what I'm saying here, but the numbers are sort of the gateway to opening up your mind to what is really possible and who you truly are and what this is all about. Number 3, they're there to let you know that you're on track, that you're on your best, highest, most ideal, favorable path, that you're whatever you're doing, whatever's going on in your life, when you see those numbers, they're telling you that you're exactly where you're supposed to be in this precise moment. The divine timing is real, and here you are. Regardless of all the different things that have happened in your life, you're where you're supposed to be right now, or where you want to be. You're not supposed to be anywhere. We have free will here. But when you see those numbers, it means like whatever's playing out in your life, whatever you're thinking about, maybe you're contemplating a career move or a relationship change or moving to Alaska or whatever it is, and you start seeing those numbers, they're saying, yeah, that's you're keep going with that line of thinking, because that's going to lead you to more of your best possible life path in this lifetime right now. So those numbers are sort of like leading, like the carrot on the stick for you, transforming yourself and your life to have it just be as enjoyable and expansive and exciting and amazing and everything that you want possible. Those numbers are the key, and they're there to give you confirmation. Number 4, they are also there to remind you that you are going through a huge transformation. So when things are unfolding in your life that maybe you don't yet understand or see the significance or even how they could possibly turn into anything remotely positive, and you see those numbers, it's a confirmation that yeah, you're on track, but this is part of this big transformation you're going through. So if something happens, you go and you get a flat tire and you're ticked off and you're late for a meeting, but you get the numbers. And it's not, as we all know, it's not just, oh, you saw the numbers, so there it is. No, it's like when I say see the numbers, I mean you have that synchronistic experience with the numbers. The numbers are almost secondary. It's more like how you freeze in time and feel connected to something more than yourself when these repetitive numbers come into your vision. That's what I mean. So that happens as you're getting your flat tire. You can look at the flat tire from a much more expansive and empowered context, rather than the victim who just so happened to be unlucky and got a flat tire. No. This is a perfect synchronistic event that's part of something a lot bigger than this isolated incident. Therefore, you don't have to get so upset or frustrated. You can step back and say, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out, because I've seen these numbers enough to trust them. And now I can look at this flat tire and say, this is part of something that's ultimately going to be beneficial and positive and help me in my life. Number 5, this one might be new to a lot of you. A lot of you are probably, what I'm already saying, you probably already have been gathering intuitively. This next one is something that took me about 6 or 7 years on this path to finally realize this other role of these numbers. And that is this. They are also there to help you awaken and transform. You tell me if I'm wrong. Do you have certain numbers that maybe aren't what I said? I gave kind of the common angel numbers, as people call them, but maybe you see like 127. 127. It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything to your friends, your neighbors, your brother. You probably don't even find too much on it online, but you keep seeing 127, 127. What does it mean? What does it mean? That's the question. What does it mean? Why are you seeing that? For a long time, I was seeing 8585. I didn't know what it meant. It reminded me of my wife. It's like her birthday, August 5th, 1985 is when she was born. But other than that, it didn't make a lot of sense. But I started seeing it at certain times, certain things that were happening in my life, certain like random, lifestyle events and so forth. I would see the numbers. And eventually I realized they were correlated with a certain state of being, a certain sort of a real kind of a specific feeling an emotional pattern, if you will, where I would sometimes feel insecure about my marriage, like my wife, like unworthy of her, and like she might just drift off or something. There's no logical reason to assume that. It just, these feelings would come up, certain situations in my life would trigger them, and then I see the 8585. Well, the 8585 eventually sort of was just showing me that, listen, Victor, you're putting out this sort of like paranoid, unhealthy, misaligned vibration and state of being, and we're going to show you these numbers so you can draw your attention back from the numbers to how you're feeling, so that you can dive into that. Why was I feeling that way? Why do I feel that? Oh, well, and that opened up a whole can of a whole slew of epiphanies and insights and releases. I started thinking back to my childhood relationships and how that could have influenced this sort of paranoid state of being. And many big healings have resulted from the help of this initially confusing number of 8585. Okay, so when you see a number like that, a random number that's repetitive, that you know means something, ask yourself why. Don't look it up online. You're probably not going to find anything. You ask yourself. And a lot of times you won't know. You say, okay, Vic, I asked myself. I still don't know. That's fine. Just be aware and trust it's going to be the puzzle's still unfolding. It took me, I don't know, 1,000 incidences of seeing 8585 before it clicked for me. And now those numbers are helpful. I see them as they now represent many different types of issues for me, and they just help me. Let me know I'm misaligned at that time. But my point is, ask yourself why you see those numbers. And if you don't know, remain patient and your synchronicity will show you. But at least now you know what's happening. And I'm telling you right now, once you start taking advantage of this highly unusual healing phenomenon that you're now experiencing, you'll be able to transform yourself at a ridiculous rate. You'll be able to expand your awareness and progress on your awakening path extremely quickly. Number 6, and this is another one that's a little bit more advanced of advice, and it's going to, in a sense, somewhat contradict what I just said. But sometimes you'll see repetitive numbers or symbols of any kind, for that matter, to simply show you and teach you. It's like your higher self is teaching you that, listen, Victor, what you put out is what you get back. What you focus on expands. So if I was to just pick up a book, sweet book, Think and Grow Rich, I'm going to open it up, 131. Page 131. I'm talking about 131. Maybe I start thinking about that number a little bit. I talk to my wife. Oh yeah, I showed them on the video. Page 131, 131. Just from what I just did just now, I very well might start seeing 131 in my life. But it doesn't really mean anything. It's just literally a reflection because I was focused on that. So the way you discern, is it just some kind of benign number that I just happen to be thinking about for some reason that I'm getting reflections about? Or is it trying to tell me something? The way you do that is to really look within and sort of discover how you're feeling about it. A lot of times when you see a number that does have meaning, that is repetitive and aiding in your healing, you'll have, for one, an intuition about it. Like, I do sense this one means something, not on an intellectual curiosity level, but like, I feel it. And then also when you start to bring it back to how you're feeling and just sort of do some exploration, you'll start getting healings and insights. Number 7, most importantly, these numbers only come to the really, really ancient old souls that are here on the planet for a very important purpose of raising initially their own consciousness, going through their own awakening so that they can be assistants to other people who aren't going to have the same intuitive ability to navigate themselves in the way you do. What? What the heck did you just say, bro? Yeah, just ask if it resonates. There's a massive collective upgrading of frequency taking place. A shift in consciousness, a shift in frequency, and a alteration of the way we experience reality. And you have come to help make that transition as smooth as possible. And the way you do that is by going through it first. And that's why it's not feeling very smooth for you right now. You wonder, how am I going to help others? I'm a mess. I have all this emotional stuff coming up. My life is just changing so quickly. I'm seeing these numbers. I still don't know if I trust what Victor's saying. Oh my goodness. And now he's saying I got to help other people. you'll naturally help other people, because it's always harder for the pioneers. It's always easier for the people who have come after. It's like, what's the name? Roger Bannister, if you heard of him. He's the first person to ever run a 4-minute mile. Prior to that, even doctors said, this is impossible, physically impossible. It can't be done. The human body would break apart. Well, guess what? Roger did it. And guess what happened shortly after? Then everyone started doing it because people saw it was possible. And it became easier, a lot easier for those that came after Roger Bannister. It's going to be like that for you. You might struggle. You might have to really defy your own limiting beliefs and really push into the unknown, as you already are doing. But those that come after you are going to have this clear, treaded path to follow. And you will just simply be helpful with the energy of transformation that you're now radiating into the cosmos. So you being alive here and now is a very important happening, and it's no accident. And these numbers are just the beginning of the remembrance of who and what you are and why you came.